we're talking about these 5 supplements today, and that's what I call the foundational 5. And I was looking up some stuff I wanted to talk to you about, just defining like what foundational health means, because I think before I dive into this, I want you to understand it a little more. Foundational health means building and maintaining the core systems your body needs to function properly every day.
Okay.
That's a big deal right there. And I know you've in the past, Ryan, you've liked to use the analogy with talking about like a house.
Yeah, of course.
So with foundational health, you think of your solid foundation, your foundation of your home, as your nutrient reserves, right?
Yep.
We have to have the proper nutrients.
Okay.
You have the strong walls, right? Think of that as your immune and nervous system. Like those have to be supported to be there, and a roof that doesn't leak. So think of your digestive and your detox systems. Like this is very important. So if you skip the foundation, no amount of expensive treatments or superfoods will hold everything together. So if you're jumping to XYZ and you're not doing ABC, it's not going to work. Your body is not going to work properly for you. So that's why foundational health has to be your first layer. So when we're going into this, I just want you to keep that in mind and think about this. And this goes for everyone. So this is something that each one of you listening, everybody that you know, has got to be doing this to just do the basic, just do the base, just do the foundation of that home, our home being our body. So, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, plumbing, electrical, roof, got it, walls.
Yes, and like there's nothing fancy about what we're going to talk about today. Nothing gimmicky, nothing salesy. This is just really about foundational health, because we want you guys to be able to thrive always. So without, or I guess with these core nutrients, you can expect, more energy, better immunity, less inflammation, better digestion, a healthier digestive system, and like we said, a stronger foundation to help prevent, and if you do have chronic disease, to help reverse it, right? Just by taking care of. I know we don't like those words, prevent, reverse. Okay.
That's where I struggle.
It's
and that's why the doctor side of me, like I'm not saying, but they always call it expensive urine. It's a big waste of money.
Right.
Like it doesn't prevent, treat, cure, mitigate any disease state. Like that's kind of the premise of Western medicine today. Like they don't believe in supplements, though there has been a huge shift. But the regulatory bodies don't necessarily approve these things like they do drugs. So therefore, you can't say things like that, even though we know that the diseases are often food-based. Most.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong on what you're saying. I'm just kind of coming in as like, hey, this is the other side. This is why people feel this conflict in the world that we live in. And the second part of that is because they're not FDA approved, means a lot of these people that are in the business of selling supplements are in the business for making money.
Right.
And strictly making money. They're not focused on outcomes. They're not trying to educate people. They're not trying to be open and transparent. So that's why I do feel like we're in a different position to talk the way we talk and sort of act the way we act, because we lead by example, and we do formulate and we do make these for ourselves, for our family. And we do firmly believe in the positive benefits of them. But we also, guys, and I'll turn it back to you, we also realize the limits that exist. You can't expect a supplement alone to just fix and fix all of your problems. But if you start to develop these healthy habits that Lisa often talks about, and you'll see that, yes, in fact, you can do these miracles that you're told you otherwise weren't able to do.
Right. So. Yeah, and I mean, it's basically, you again, I'm going to keep saying foundation, but if something's going on and you aren't taking care of the foundation, you have to start there, right? You have to start to eliminate the nutrient deficiencies, calm down the inflammation, support the digestive and detox system. You have to do that before you start getting into all this other stuff. So if you've been neglecting it,
that's right.
You gotta go back to step one, go back to ABC, right? So that's the biggest thing. I think so many of us, especially with the marketing out there and how you say like everybody's in it, to make an extra, dime at their company, whatever it is. The marketing sways you towards that, right? Because it sounds so promising and so amazing, and it's like this magical thing in a bottle is going to do everything for me And all I have to do is pay $120 a month and take it every day.
One thing.
Right.
You're like, no. But that's why we're saying, like, this is the foundation. These are the things that, again, going back to the Western medicine, the doctors in today's society, these are actually the things they do recommend. You will hear them recommend vitamin D, of course. You will hear them recommend magnesium. It's used in the hospital. So vitamin D is a prescription product. They have prescription. Magnesium has prescription. You use it in the hospital all the time for blood pressure and heart. Factor 4, which is fish oil. You have fish oil as far as prescription drug therapy. We definitely have some probiotic strains and different benefits of gut support used in Western medicine. And then multivitamin is a combination of therapies that altogether multiple drugs on the market for, like, your B12 as one example of them.
Right.
But definitely, I mean, you're hearing, so they recommend, this is kind of sort of, that's why we say it's like widely accepted and agreed upon. And, but you do need to be focused on the quality for sure.
Right. And again, stop jumping to the XYZ.
Yeah, take one scoop of this once a day, you cover all your nutrient gaps.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right. So we're going to run through them real quick. And again, since these are nothing fancy, there's not like crazy amount of detail to go into. I mean, if you know us with LiveGood, you know about our high quality, and you know about the full transparency. If you don't, there's lots of training on it. But so they're not just. When I say they're nothing fancy because a multivitamin is not fancy and exciting sounding. But when you have the proper amounts, the proper dosing, right, high enough dosing to actually have an impact. When you have the proper forms of the vitamins and minerals in there, and when you leave out all the other junk and fillers, and you do the proper testing and give you guys the results, that's why these are supplements become fancy. But when you really look at it, nothing is fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough of that. Bioactive Complete multivitamin we have for men's and women's because of just, they're very similar.
Some differences.
But just some
Nothing too
specific needs, yeah. And now you want to think of this as like your nutritional insurance for your body, right? Even the healthiest of eaters, I like to tout myself as one of those, fall short of nutrients. And it's so true. And I know this because I do a micronutrient panel at least once a year, and I see some low levels of vitamins and minerals. And when I say I tout myself as one of those healthy eaters, I still need to take my multivitamin every day to make sure I prevent those deficiencies. So with LiveGood, we have all the vitamins and minerals, the full B vitamin complex to support your energy, your mood, your focus, resilience, even sleep. B vitamins do help with sleep. Zinc, selenium in there, that's, immune health. We have the iron in the women's for, women tend to have more need for the iron. Just saying it now, if you don't need the added iron, if you've been told you don't need the added iron, women can take the men's. The ingredients are bioavailable. Do you want to hit on anything that I haven't said with it?
No, that's good. You covered everything besides what's in the men's. Gaps. I mean, you have lycopene in the men's because it's an antioxidant. It's super concentrated in the prostate, and then you have lutein and zeaxanthin that's in the vitamins, which in both for the vision, because that's important stuff when you're talking about absorbing all the blue light, right? Because lutein and zeaxanthin are marigold flower extracts, but they're found in the back of the eye and the retina in high concentration. So making sure that those antioxidants are dosed properly is really important for eye health.
For sure. Okay, and then we have our vitamin D.
You would spend $25 just on a vision supplement for those separately.
Right.
And another $15 on a B complex or $20 on a B complex.
Right. When all you have to do is, we try again. We always try to put as much as we can in one to help prevent that pill fatigue, because you do have to take a lot.
Yeah, you take a lot.
It can happen.
Of course, we get it.
Vitamin D3K2, so much more than just a bone vitamin. For those of you that, sorry, I keep hitting.
No, it is bone.
It's much more than just bone. Yeah, it's a master hormone. Yeah. Right? Regulates over 2,000 genes in your body. So supports your bones, supports your teeth,
sure.
Your bones, guides calcium to where it needs to go. Helps with your immune system. We've learned that a lot with COVID, because those that tend to have the lower end or deficient in vitamin D tended to be the ones with the most negative symptoms associated with COVID. Helps reduce inflammation. It has a role there. And you want to tell us why there's K2 in our D3?
Yeah, you can help with the utilization of vitamin D3 and the uptake of D3, as well as the calcium balance. Again, that's bone focused. But K2 is also a fat-soluble vitamin that's needed. D3 is also, D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so A, D, E, and K are the 4. But you need to take, if you're going to take D3, you should absolutely be taking K2 along with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And almost everybody, like say you're not taking a vitamin D supplement, almost everybody is deficient in vitamin D. It's just, I mean, it's a crazy thing to see. I remember when we when you first looked at yours and you were like, wow, like, why would I be? Like, we live in South Florida. I'm outside all the time. I'm getting that dose of sunshine. I'm eating well. I'm not, but still.
Yep.
You need to take you need to supplement with it.
Well, again, it depends on how you're looking at vitamin D and looking at magnesium. Well, really anything that you could measure in your blood, because there's a difference between what you're considered as deficient or whatever the other term is. I always forget the other term.
Well, yeah,
but when you're deficient, you're just talking about preventing disease, essentially preventing rickets from D or whatever it might be. So those numbers are low. There's a difference between that and optimal health, right?
Sure.
So now that the ranges have been increased in a different capacity, maybe not by LabCorp or Quest, but in some of these other faculties, they look at different ranges of lab work for more optimal health. So whereas vitamin D now, you might want to see it at least 30 nanograms per ml, but maybe 50 and above.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's where it gets a little bit different. Whereas I think 18 is considered normal.
Right.
So you're really in that real, like, you need to figure out what your numbers are. That's part of it. But if you don't know your numbers, that's okay. That's why we formulated at 2,000 units per serving, because 2,000 units should keep you around 30. And then I've now gone to 4,000, sometimes 6,000 units a day, depending, right? Because I want to be closer to 50. I'm in the 80s. And she's in the 80s.
And I like it.
And that's great for her. But again, it can build up on you. So again, it's one of those things. Don't be fooled by the people that are advertising. I got 10,000 units in per capsule. And you're like, that could be too much and it could hurt somebody, because it does deposit in tissues. It can cause kidney failure, and there's different issues associated with that. So I feel really good about our 2,000 units.
Yeah, I mean, and personally, I have mine up in the 80s, and I take 2 one day, so I'm taking 4,000 international units one day, and then 2,000 the next. So I alternate two capsules, 1 capsule, 2 capsules, 1 capsule. That's what works to maintain where I am.
Yeah, okay.
So
Cool.
It is important to know your numbers. It's a very, very, very simple test.
Simple and cheap.
And also just to add in there, like when you do get your blood levels tested, look up information. Look up what is optimal. What is your optimal level, optimal ranges of.
Where would that
things.
be published though? You don't typically see that. It's like
you can find it, but you can also look at like a functional medical doctor's approach. What is a functional medical doctor's approach to optimal ranges, and you can find it. You can also ask ChatGPT. They've been very helpful.
And the thing with D though is like, you could go outside and get sunlight, and your body can make 20,000 units of vitamin D in 20 minutes. Seriously, it can, but it shuts off, so it regulates. And if that's all you do once a day, you'd think that'd be enough, but it might not be. And so you're seeing it in the numbers, and that's the thing, even for people that live in sunshine. But with the sunscreen and the cover-ups and everything we're doing, seeing a lot less vitamin D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to our ultra magnesium complex, the mighty magnesium. Can honestly be one of the most underrated minerals.
I agree.
It is so important, but because it's not fancy, it's just little magnesium, I feel like it's not as well respected. But it's involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. That's a big deal. That means if you're low to deficient in it, those reactions can't take place properly.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
That's how I want you to think about it. It's like a little like chain reaction. And if the magnesium isn't there, the other reactions in the body that are supposed to happen on a regular basis every single day to help keep us efficient and healthy can't happen. So, I mean, we know that it can help relax the nervous system, primes us for sleep, which is always like why we recommend taking in the later afternoon. It doesn't have to be, but it can reduce any cramps, supports the heart, right? Supports the heart rhythm, healthy blood pressure.
It absolutely does that. I mean, that's why they use it in the hospital for pregnant women when they have preeclampsia, high blood pressure.
Right. So, I mean, there's just so many, I mean, the list could go on, helps regulate blood sugar, insulin sensitivity. So you look at these things, I want to use the blood sugar and insulin sensitivity first, just because so many people are looking for the answers to that.
Right.
My doctor told me my blood sugar's high, or I'm pre-diabetic, or if they even tell you that before they tell you you're diabetic. But instead of going to the extreme and you want to do something, take the natural way to help reverse, you have to go back to starting with your foundation. If that's something you're missing, just start with the basics. Start with the basics and see what it can do for you first.
And that's a good example, one being this essential macro mineral that you have to get from diet and food sources. Body does not make magnesium, so you really do need to make it a supplement.
And it's not that easy to get from food, because some of the food choices a lot of people don't eat.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. No, and the same with D. I
moisturizer.
mean, you could argue that D too, even though the sunshine, your body makes it with exposure to sunlight, but you don't get it from food. I mean, they fortify a few things like milk and cheese, but kind of it's usually cheap, crappy stuff too. So you don't want to be consuming a lot of that, cereals.
Right.
But yeah, that's
So
why
it's-
magnesium is so important though. I mean, it's just crazy. We could spend an entire 15, 30 minutes on just
Sure.
magnesium.
I mean, it's simple little things like if you're constantly feeling anxious, nervous, stressed, if you get headaches, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're having trouble calming down, I mean, that might just be a
Yeah.
little sign.
It can be.
Those little red flags that like.
And also one thing to note too is drug-induced nutrient depletion. So you guys would be freaking surprised. Like we did a full Zoom on just drug-induced nutrient depletion. If you type in drug-induced, you'll see it in our lineup there, videos. But man, magnesium's like number one. It gets knocked out. It gets knocked out. The top drugs are water pills usually for blood pressure. So these diuretics will knock your magnesium out. There's so many drugs, prescription drugs that cause the body to either not absorb or to further more rapidly excrete some of these minerals and vitamins from our body. So
Right.
it's a huge thing and it's well documented, it's science-based, and I cannot believe that it's not more part of the broad medical advice, and
Sure.
it's not. So magnesium being one of them too. Virtually, if you're on blood pressure medicine, diabetic medicine, stomach medicine, you're most likely deficient in magnesium. Or if you exercise, because you sweat, that's a good thing. If you stress it a lot, that, believe it or not, depletes magnesium. If you drink alcohol or caffeine, it's crazy.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
those are things that can also deplete the body of magnesium. But also going back to the multi, it depletes a bunch of stuff in here, the B vitamins and some of the other vitamins that are in there as well. I mean, yeah, it's a very common thing.
Perfect. I just, before we jump on to factor 4, I just see a question that, which LiveGood
lot of
product is
questions.
responsible to increase our longevity?
Yeah, well,
mean,
all of them. This is it right
Here
here.
we are. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to
This is
be
it.
taking the foundation.
This is our foundation. Yeah.
Going back to the house analogy, right? I mean, how do you want that house to be standing for a very long time?
Yeah, and the pipes not to be
Right.
corrosive.
You've got
or-
to take care of the foundation. You've got to take care of the foundation. You've got to take care of the foundation. Okay, moving on to factor 4. Factor 4, because it has 4 amazing ingredients: our omega-3s from fish oil, actually from anchovies,
Anchovy.
turmeric, garlic, and CoQ10. All extremely important ingredients, all wonderful for decreasing inflammation, as well as heart health. I mean, the heart plays a major role here. Inflammation can be silent. So it's often known as like the silent
Yeah.
killer because you don't necessarily see it. Some functional medical doctors will test inflammatory markers, but it's definitely not a standardized blood test that you will see from your mainstream doc. So and it might present itself as certain aches and pains and stuff. It might present itself as like feeling puffy all the time, but sometimes it doesn't present itself. But it's there, it's brewing, so we need to take care of it. We need to calm it down. It's like, got to put those fires out. A little bit of inflammation is good. You will always talk about that. Like, say you cut yourself, right? That response there, but it's the chronic inflammation.
Yeah, a lot of inflammation in short bursts is good.
Yeah.
A little bit chronically is bad.
Right. So we talked about heart health, lower the inflammation, reduce joint pain and stiffness. Comes with inflammation, supports the brain, nervous system. I mean, all of these things. So it's like a supplement that can help you feel better and age better, right? Going back to that longevity. Anything else in factor 4?
Has a qualified health claim on the omega-3 fatty acids from the FDA. I mean, basically lower triglycerides, which is the fat in the blood, which is usually in your cholesterol panel. Like Lisa was saying, I think she was really referring to is the way that plaques build up in your arteries and ultimately lead to the number one killer, which is heart attacks and strokes. That is an inflammatory process in cascade, which omega-3 fatty acids, many cardiologists will say, oh, you should be taking such and such omega-3 fatty acids and you should be taking coenzyme Q10. You also hear garlic and you also hear the turmeric tossed around too, but those two, the CoQ10 and fish oil, are huge for the health of the heart situation. So, and the anchovy matters, the type of fish matters. You want to make sure it's low in PCBs, low in mercury, and the anchovy certainly is, and it's well tested. We have it documented on the website. So many benefits of fish oil. Everybody could benefit from fish oil. The amount of fish oil does matter though. If you're starting just to help with inflammation, it would typically just be 1 gram a day. which is just 2 soft gels. You don't believe it or not, there's almost 350, is it 300 and something per soft gel?
Soft gel, yeah.
There's
Like
more.
when you read the supplement facts.
So you
which
want
one-
to get, I just want the omega-3s, EPA and DHA. So you break it down to
600.
EPA, so 600.
in one. And we recommend
so
taking 2
two.
to 6.
So that would be your 1.2 grams just in 2 soft gels, which is awesome because it's super concentrated. That's
Right.
actually really, really important if you compare the two. And compare it with any other fish oil product. Look at EPA and DHA. Those are your 2 main omega-3 fatty acid
Right.
esters. And then you want to go all the way up to 3 to 4 grams, so 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids a day to really reap the benefits of lowering triglycerides and so many other stuff. So you can work your way up there. That's where I am now. I'm at 6 soft gels a day. And I love it. Absolutely love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful supplement. And then probiotic gut support. I do know, mainstream docs are recommending probiotics more and more, but really only because they hear about GI symptoms. And probiotics do so much more because of it is our second brain. It's the gut is the command center of your brain. Really, in functional medicine, I talk about this a lot because I really do believe in it and about finding the root cause. But when they're addressing symptoms, when they have a patient with a lot of things going on, the first thing that they go to is the gut and the detox systems. Like, let's go heal the gut and make sure our detox systems are working properly before we can even go to anything else. So it's really, 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 really so important. It's where 70% of your immune system lives. It's responsible for nutrient absorption, detoxification, and even mood regulation. I was just talking to a friend. We were just traveling and saw some old friends this past week. And she had finally went to see a functional medical doctor. And apparently she was deficient in a lot of vitamins and minerals. But she's like, but I'm taking all this stuff. And he's like, well, are you taking a probiotic? Are you taking care of your gut? Because maybe you're not absorbing what you should be from it because you have a lot of gut inflammation and maybe that term leaky gut going on. So it is a really important part of it, which is why it is in here in my foundational 5. Our modern life damages the gut. Everything that we're doing is damaging the gut. So we really have to take care of it. I'm talking about processed food, stress, medications, environmental toxins. So many things go on there, and when your gut's not happy, your mind's not happy, your body's not happy. So we need to take our daily probiotics, which is 60 billion CFUs, right?
Yeah, 10 strains, 6 each, yeah.
Right. We improved digestion and nutrient absorption, which is what I just said, reduce bloating and gas, so of course, any GI-related stuff, strengthen the immune system, the immune defense, and support a balanced mood and focus. I mean, that's a big deal. So, a major player here that I want people to understand that you don't just need to take a probiotic because you maybe have some GI symptoms going on. This is whole body. It really transforms your health from the inside out, 100%. Right? Anything else?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, like you said, like most of your serotonin is made and stored. So for people that are out there suffering through major depressive disorders or generalized anxiety disorders, you often hear the drugs SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Those class of drugs, really try to increase the serotonin in the synapse so that the brain can have more to work with, where a lot of it's gut-based and it can be disrupted by different things in our environment, the foods we eat, the medicines we take, and such and so on and so forth. But the supplement process is to help increase the amount of serotonin because it relies upon the gut bacteria to properly synthesize and store the serotonin, which is just one example of many, many neurotransmitters that are also involved in the gut lining. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. When you talk about like the beneficial short chain fatty acids that come from it, when we were just talking about the fiber, fiber's not here on the table, maybe it should be, but fiber along with the gut support, can really transform your gut health in a very, very positive way, for sure.
Definitely. So here we are, the foundational 5. Remember, taking these consistently, right? We rebuild our nutrient foundation.
Right.
We strengthen our immune system. We support our brain, heart, metabolism. We lower inflammation, the chronic inflammation, and we feel more energized and resilient. Like, these are just basic things, but they're a big deal.
They're a big deal.
Big deal to be feeling this every single day. And
Absolutely.
like, these aren't extras and optional. Like, this is necessary.
Yeah,
It's essential. They're essential pillars that everyone needs. And then you think of the reverse. What happens, if you're deficient, what happens if you're not taking these? There you got the weakened immune system. You're getting sick more frequent. And if you do get sick, you're staying sick longer. That's a big deal. We're all going to get sick. We're all going to catch these little things. But you want to be able to nip it in the bud quickly, right? Have a strong body. The chronic inflammation that drives the pain, fatigue, heart disease, and faster aging. Okay, all these negative things: poor digestion, poor nutrient absorption, mood imbalances. Just talking about that, irritability, anxieties, sleep problems, hormone disruption. They affect metabolism, weight, everything. So very, very, very important. So when you don't fill these gaps, it's like trying to build a house without a solid foundation.
Yeah.
So
No,
this is a perfect one for the house. Yeah.
I could have added more into this. For my foundation, it's more. Like I even just talked about fiber, but
Sure.
to make
I
it
know.
for this call, to make it simple enough to talk about in 20 minutes and so that people can understand a great point of entry, this is it. This is a great point of entry.
And, I want you to think about something. Health isn't something that you just fall into, you stumble into. I had a question from, over the weekend. Someone had said,
dedication.
What do you do? Oh my gosh, you look so good, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, she was like commenting on like the strength and this and that. I'm like, I didn't just wake up and this happened. I've been taking care of myself the right way for a very long time. Supplementation has always been like a major player in it. So remember, you don't just fall into being healthy. This person walking down the street that is immaculate health, it didn't just happen. They're working on it.
Yeah,
It takes work, it takes dedication. It's something that you need to do every single day. So I mean, your foundational 5 are not luxuries.
A couple of real quick questions came in. Can I get off the statin? I think Brent, you were asking about a statin drug, Lipitor maybe it was. And the answer is no. The factor 4 will not replace a statin drug. And if you're on a statin, I assume that you're being monitored and your blood work is being checked. So continue to make any and every lifestyle change that you possibly are willing and able to do, and you will see your levels all change for the better. Dietary needs or dietary changes are going to be so impactful. But of course, omega-3 fatty acids can be beneficial for the things that we talked about, but it will not replace a statin drug.
Right.
Some other stuff like talking about the mood depressant drugs. Yeah, I mean, guys, that is real. I mean, if you focus on your gut and you pay attention to the stuff that happens in that environment when you give it the right nutrients and fiber and things like that, and oh gosh, yes, it can. It won't happen right overnight, but it's possible that you could taper off your medication and feel just alone. I mean, better alone with just working at it on your own.
Yeah, and if that is something you want to consider, you work with your doctor on it, of course.
Right.
You never do this alone.
And don't come cold turkey ever.
Right, but start taking the foundational 5 at the very minimum. Be consistent for a minimum of 3 months. I'm consistent, guys.
Yeah, I think 12 weeks is a good.
Every single day.
Yeah, for sure.
Then check in with your doctor. Let's do some more blood work. Let's see how we're feeling. Let's have a talk. Maybe we can start to reduce something. Again, it does take time. You're not just going to take this instead of that. We wish that could be the case, but it's not. Body takes time to heal and repair.
It does.
But I want to talk to you real quick about, I just want to say some prices too. These 5 supplements, if you are a member, our membership price means $9.95 a month to get the membership pricing, $62.85 for 5 supplements, when typically that is the price of one for many companies. And then if you're not a member and you're just buying at retail, totally cool as well, $88.75. Still a ridiculous price to be able to get 5 supplements. And again, we've done this so everybody can get their hands on these, because if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? Right. So were there other questions?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Brent, you can email me too if you want to get more into the weeds, because I'm not, it's as far as statin drugs, I recognize there's a lot of controversy surrounding them, but there's definitely more to the story I can share with you. All right, cool. I think that rocks it out.
Yep. So I encourage you guys, don't wait for symptoms to get worse. Don't wait for health problems to arise. Start with your foundational 5 today.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, next time. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.